Now, hello, good people. Hello, good people. I want us to continue with our topic. The topic is investment decision, or what we call the capital budgeting decision. So, this is lesson three of this topic, and I hope we shall finish lesson three with the required items inside. That is the discounting uh, technique or the methods, discounting techniques or the method. So without wasting time, my good people, let us jump into discounting technique. So let us jump in discounting technique, discounting technique. So sorry for that issue with the camera. Anyway, let us move on. So I was saying, discounting technique is our new subtopic. Discounting technique, discounting technique. So what is discounting technique, and why are we studying this one? Now, discounting technique. This is a technique which takes into consideration time value of money by computing present value of all the expected cash flow of a project in the future. So we say this is a technique. We say this is a technique which considers time value of money, time value of money. So this is a technique which considers time value of money by computing uh, by computing present values by computing what we call the present value of all expected cash flows from a project, of all future expected cash flows from the project, from the project. That is correct. That one is correct. So that's number one. They include. So they include. Number A, net present value. Net present value, which is NPV. Number B, profitability index. Profitability index, which is PI. Number C, modified internal rate of return. Internal rate of return. MIRR. And then number D, internal rate of return. Internal rate of return, IRR. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have another one? Oh, then you have the discounted payback period. ABCDE. Discounted payback period. Payback period. Discounted payback period. Discounted payback period. DPBP. Discounted payback period. So we can start with the, before we go to that one, before we start with the first one, let's talk about factors of an ideal investment appraisal. Ama features, not factors, features of an idea. Features of an idea capital budgeting. Technique. So features of an idea capital budgeting technique or the appraisal technique. Number one, it should consider all the cash flows. Number two, other one, it should use cash flows. It should use cash flows and not accounting profit. Number three, it should take into account time value of money. It should take into account time value of money. Number four, we can talk about it should give a clear decision whether to accept or reject a project. It should give a clear decision on whether to accept or reject a project. Then number five, it should help in ranking the project. It should be capable of ranking the projects mostly in the situation of capital rationing. In situation of capital rationing. So you know what is capital rationing? So capital rationing is a situation where the firm does not have enough money to undertake all the viable projects. So when we talk about capital rationing, it's a situation where the company do not have all the funds to undertake all the viable projects, to undertake all the viable projects, to undertake all the viable projects. That one is correct. That one is correct. Now let us go to discounted payback period. Discounted payback period. Discounted. Let's do that one. Discounted payback. Payback period. Discounted payback period. Let me take my book. In my book, discounted payback period. So I think we shall start with that one. Refers to the length of time. Refers to the length of time. So we say refers to the length of time. Refers to the length of time taken by the project. By the project to recover its initial capital investment. To recover its initial capital investment. Capital investment. So that is all about the payback period, discounted payback period, and then the formula is the same as the other one. So we say payback period, nasema years before full recovery plus, now this one, you open the bracket, you say the initial capital minus the lower limit, over upper limit minus lower limit. So kumbuka hapa kuna times 12. So times 12. So hii iko unafanya hiyo kwanza, then ukimaliza you multiply by 12. Then when you finish, you multiply by 12. So I think we can do a working from our past paper. Let's do a working from our past paper. I think that one will be okay. So let me look for a question from our past paper. Question. So the question is for December 2023. December 2023. Question number 1. So December 2023. Question number 1B. Question number 1B. December 2023. Question number 1B. Let me read the question. Question number 1B. The question reads: Mapema Ltd is considering investing in one of the mutually exclusive projects. The relevant cash flow for each projects are as below. So we have the information there. Then we have project X and project Y. So we shall do both of them. Then required to compute the following for each project. So compute the following for each project. So to a project X. So start with the project X. So we are doing modified discounted payback period. So project X. So we have the years, and then you have the cash flows. Then you have the present value interest factor. So the present value interest factor in this case is 15%. The number is 15%. Then we shall get the present value. Then cumulative present value. Kuna mambo mingi. So yes, so you have from year 1 up to 6. So year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Cash flows tunaona ni 37,500. 37,500 followed by 16,500, which is negative. 16,500. Year 3, 30,000. 30,000. Year 4, 22,500. 22,500. 9,000. 9,000. Then 7,500. Now we need to input our figures for the discounting factors. Now for discounting factors, I have the table. We use the one for irregular cash flow because the cash flows are not the same. So ukiangalia these cash flows, they are not the same. So tunatumia hii 1 plus r raised to minus n, and that one is the upper table in most cases, but we will check. Unaangalia hapo juu umepewa formula 1 plus r raised to minus n, so ni ya juu. The other one we use it when our cash flows are the same. So ukipata year 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, the cash flows are similar, we use the annuity table. So we are not using the annuity table, we are using the end period. So tunatumia ya juu. So naenda kwa 15%. 15%, so year 1 is 0.8696. 0.8696. 0.7561. 0.65. 75, 0.57, 18, 0.49, 72, na 0.4323. So that is for December 2023. Yeah. So we multiply. Let us multiply them together. So multiply to get the present value. So unachukua the cash flow, that's 7,500 you multiply with 8696. 16,500 you multiply with this one to get the present value. So multiply that one to get the answer. So now I have multiplied the present value. So unachukua this one multiply with the present value interest factor. You get the present value. Now we can get the cumulative. So the first one is always the same. 32, 610. Then we add this one, so 32, 610 plus 12, 475.65 to get the next cumulative. 45, 085.65. We add 19, 725. Natupatia 64, 810.65. We add 12, 865.5. Natupatia 77, 676.15. Remember that our question is in thousand, plus 44, 74.8. Inatupatia 82, 150.95 plus 32, 42.25. Inatupatia 85,393.2. Now with that case, we need to find the years before full recovery. Now what was our cost of the project? Now our cost tukiangalia ni 57,750. So remember the cost of this project ni 57,750. 57,750. Now when do we recover this cost? So this cost we shall recover this cost, 57,750 at which point? 57. Now this is the point of recovery. That is the point of recovery. That is the point of recovery, if I'm not wrong. Oh, sorry, I did a mistake here. I may notice something. I did a mistake here. This one was supposed to be negative figure. This one was supposed to be negative figure. So kumaanisha how these figures are wrong. This one was supposed to be a negative figure. Niliweka positive. So 32,610 minus 12,475.65 supposed to be 134.35 plus 19, 725. This one is 39, 859.35 plus 12, 865.5, which is 52, 724.85 plus 44, 74.8, which is 57, 199.65 plus 32, 42.25, which is 60, 441.9. Now remember our cost is 57,750. Now 57,750 we shall recover it from this point, which forms the lower limit. Kumbuke hiyo pia ina form the lower limit. Then the next one, the next cash flow ina form the upper limit. The upper limit. So the year before full recovery, the year 5. So let us discounted payback period the year before full recovery in 5 years. Then our working initial capital tumesema ni 57,750 minus the lower limit. The lower limit ndio hii figure ni 57,199.65 over the upper limit ni yenye iko chini yake 60,441.9 minus the lower limit which is 57,199.65 times 12. So itakuwa ni 5 plus, so 57,750 minus 57,199.65 which is 550.35 over 60,441.9 minus 57,199.65 ni 3242.25 times 12. So this one is 5 years. That's the 5 years, and so 550. So 550.35 divided by answer times 12, and 2 months. So that is the payback period for project number 1. So that's the payback period for project X. So natuja sema hapa project X inachukua 5 years and 2 months. Now, having completed that one, we can do project Y. Project Y, you allow me to do it at the same spot. Chini yake hapa. I'm not going to delete the other part. So if project X, I'm not going to delete it. So tunaenda project X. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So cash flows is the same. So cash flows, let us see the cash flows. Let us see the cash flow. So year 1 is 45,000. 45,000. Then we have 12,000. 45,000, 12,000. So minus 6,000. This one is negative. They made a loss in that period. 33,000. 33,000. 15,000. 15,000. Then 22,500. 22,500. Yeah. Our present value interest factor is the same because it's 15%. So 0.8696, 0.7561, 0.6575, 0.5718, 0.4972, 0.4323. Now let us get to the present value. Get the present value. Then after we get the present value, we get the cumulative. So after we get the present value, we get the cumulative. So let us do it together. So do it on your side also. So those are my present value for project, not project X, project Y. Supposed to be project Y. So those are the present value for project Y. So present value for project Y. Now once we get that one, we can get the cumulative. Now we can get the cumulative. We can get the cumulative. So let's get the cumulative. Now cumulative inakuwa, the first one inabaki vinyiko 39,132 plus, so 39,132 plus 9073.2, which is 48,205.2 minus 3945, which is 44,260.2 plus 18,869.4, which is 63,129.6 minus 74, 58, 55, 671.6 plus 97.26.75, which is 65, 398.35. So what was the cost of project X? So that we see the price of recovery. Now the cost was for project Y the 55,500. 55,500. So 55,500. Now in that case, tukiangalia, the first recovery will be at this point, this one, which will form our lower value, lower limit. Then the next one will form the upper limit. Upper limit. So we can do that question now. So payback period, so discounted payback period. So the period of recovery is year 3 plus. Now we need to do our working here. So the cost is 55,500. We raise the lower limit, which is 44 to 60.2 over the upper limit is 63,129.6 minus 44 to 60.2. What you get to multiply with the 12. So we shall get our payback period. So it's going to be 3 years and 3 years end. So what will be the month? Let us see. So 55,500 minus 44 to 60.2. So you mean napata 11. So wacha nifanye hapa 11 239.8 divided by 239. 63,129.6 minus 44 to 60.2, which is 18,869.4. Then we multiply by 12 so that we know the month. So tutachukua 11 239.8 divided by answer times 12 and 7 months. So this one is for project Y. Project Y, 3 years and 7 months. So remember, this project are mutually exclusive. So remember, this project are mutually exclusive, and we said that when we talk about mutual exclusive, this project serves the same purpose. So we only undertake one at a time. So we cannot take 2 of them. Now, decision criteria for this one, payback period, decision criteria, ni kama tu ile ingine. Decision criteria kama imeandikwa hivyo. The shorter the project, the shorter the project duration, the better the project. The better the project. Now in this case, project Y is the best project to undertake. Is the best project to undertake. Since we shall recover our cost in just 3 years and 7 months, as compared to project X, where we need to wait for 5 years. So that's the decision criteria. So undertake project Y since the period of recovery is shorter compared to project X. So undertake project Y, because the period of recovery of the cost is shorter as compared to project X. So project Y in 3 years, 7 months, the other one is 5 years, 2 months. That is all about the discounted payback period. Now we can go to the next one. So that one, let me take it. Then I may tick. It's a tick. So nikifanya na tick. So we can go to the next one. I don't know which one should we go. Tufanye njia gani? We can go to the modified internal rate of return. Modified internal rate of return. Okay, before okay, I want to make use of this table because I'm nimesha just hizo vitu. I want to make use of that one. So let me go to NPV, then tukuje PI. So because we have the tumeshafanya hizo kila kitu, I don't need to rub it again. Tena nikuje niandike tena. So let us do that one. Tuanze na NPV, then tukimaliza NPV tuingie PI. Then tunaweza fanya pia IRR using the same question. So allow me to wrap this part. Sawa. I think this one is okay now. So directly to NPV. So let's talk about NPV, net present value. Net present value. So we say net present value. So NPV. NPV. The net present value. And we say this is the difference between the present value of cash inflow. This is the difference between present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow. So this one is present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow. So PVCOF. So the formula for NPV. So NPV is equal to the present value of cash inflow minus present value of cash outflow. So present value of cash inflow ndio hii hapa, and the present value of cash outflow. Now how do you get the present value of cash inflow? This one will be equal to the summation any period in our time. It will be the summation of the cash flow over 1 plus R raised to N. That is the formula. How to get the present value. Or you can just say is equals to present value cash inflow is equal to the cash flow multiply with the discounting factor present value interest factor N period. Remember summation. Remember it's supposed to be the summation. That one. This is the same. And remember this figure here. Ukumbuke 1 plus R. Ukumbuke hii figure 1 of this one. This one you can also say is the summation of the cash flow 1 plus R raised to minus N. That is the same thing. So this one hapa juu ni kama hii. So that is the present value in those cash. Na ndio hii hapa. Na ndio hii. Na ndio hii. So you add the summation. So for example, let us do for project X. Project X NPV. So we need to find the present value cash flow interest factor. So this one. So PVCIF. You add this summation zote. So now add this E yote. Now, so let us add. So you add them together. So tunasema 32 610 minus 12 475.65. Actually itatuletea hii answer ya mwisho. This one. Okay, add zote itakupatia hii ya mwisho hii 60 441.9. But let us confirm. plus 19,725 plus 12,865.5 plus 44,74.8 plus 32,42.25. So 60,441.9 ndio hiyo hapa. So 60,441.9. Now the present value cash outflow. This one is the cost of the project. The total cost of the project at year 0. So unaenda kwa swali yako unaangalia the total cost of that project at year 0. Walikuwa tumeshatupatia na tulitumia in the previous class, in the previous ilikuwa 57,750 in the previous example ya payback 57,750. So we can get NPV now. So NPV is equal to the present value cash inflow minus present value cash outflow, which is I'm saying 60,441.9 minus 57,570. Tupatia ngapi? So minus 57,750 cost 57,750, which is 2,691. Remember it is in thousand. Remember the question is in thousand. So that is the NPV for project X. Let us see project Y. Project Y. So tunaanza na present value cash inflow, tuna add zote. So una add kutoka hapa hii hapa. You add all of them together. So when you add them utapata 65. When you add utapata 65 398.35 utapata hiyo. So let us confirm. So 39 132 90 73.2 minus 39.45 plus 18,869.4 minus 74.58 plus 97.26.75. So 65 398.35, that's correct. 65 398.35. Then present value cash outflow, cost yake ndio hii hapa. The cost ilikuwa 55,500. 55,500. So we can get NPV. So NPV itakuwa ni 65 398.35 minus 55,500. Then you compare the NPV. So 65 398.35 minus 55,500 atupatia 9,898.35. So remember, we need to give advice using NPV. Now, using NPV, remember the projects are mutually exclusive. So remember, these projects are mutually exclusive. We can only undertake one at a time, but we cannot undertake the two projects at the same time. So between project X and Y using NPV, which one has the highest NPV? So E equal to 9,000, E equal to 2,000. So the best project is project Y. So advice using NPV. Advice. Undertake project Y because it has highest NPV. So undertake project Y because it has the highest NPV. So don't do X. So reject project X. So reject project X, but undertake. Supposed to be I'm accept. Let's use the word accept. Accept project Y because it has a highest NPV, and then reject project X because it has a lower NPV. So that's how you do NPV. So NPV tumemaliza now hivyo. I think I'm not going to back to NPV. So hiyo swali tumefanya, that one is okay. Now we can also go to another one, PI. Can you go to PI? So remember NPV, it is the difference between the total present value total present value of cash inflow minus total present value of the cash outflow. Now, cash inflow, it is computed using the discounting rate, the factors, then you multiply with the cash flow. But the total present value of cash outflow is the cost of the project at year 0. So we can put the cost of the project at year 0, that is the cost. That is the cost. Okay. Okay, now we can go to the next one, PI, profitability index. Then tumalizie na MIRR na IRR. So let's go to PI. So I think I'll give you like 1 minute. So let's continue. PI, profitability index. So next one. Profitability index. So PI. So to go under PI, profitability index. Now, let us write something on PI. There's something on PI. Now, this is a relative measure of risk. Refer to a relative measure of risk. So refers to a relative measure of risk. A measure of risk. So refer to a relative measure of risk, and then you can say let me check another definition here, which I would prefer. Just a moment. PI. Where is that PI? We said it and performance. So refer to relative measure of risk and performance. It is expressed as follows. It is expressed as follows. So PI is equals to present value cash inflow divided by the present value cash outflow. So let's do for project X and Y. Okay, decision criteria before we continue. Decision criterion. Decision criterion. Number 1, if PI is greater than 1, accept the project. Number 2, if PI is less than 1, reject the project. Then number 3, if PI equals to 1, then no valid decision. Meaning point of indifference. Now, so let's do project X and Y. Project X and project Y. So PI tunajua ni present value cash inflow. So tukianza na project X ndio hii hapa ni 441.9 divided by the cost. So what was the cost of this project? Ilikuwa nikikumbuka ilikuwa inasema 57,750. 57,750. Haya, huu mwingine PI itakuwa ni 65,398. Total present value cash inflow ni 0.35 divided by cost, which was 55,500. Now tumesema yenye kuna more than one is the best, or the higher the, sometimes people say the higher the PI the better the project. Also you can say the higher the PI the better the project, the better the project. But remember, it must be greater than 1. It must be greater than 1 so that to be accepted. So it must be greater than 1 to be accepted. So let us see 16,441.9 divided by 57,750. Hii ni 1.05. Hii ni 65,398.35 divided by 55,500. This is 1.18. So which one is the best? So the higher. So advice, if you are to use the PI, advice, accept project Y because it has a higher PI. Because it has, so accept project Y because it has a higher profitability index. So accept project Y because it has a higher PI. Because it has a higher PI. Because it has a higher PI. So that's all about the PI. That is all about the PI. We don't need to go back to PI. Now we can go back, tunaweza malizia mwisho, the modified internal rate of return. Modified internal rate of return. The modified internal rate of return. Modified internal rate of return. That one will be okay. Before bado tutakuwa tumemaliza because also we have internal rate of return. Anyway, let us do that one. Let us do the modified internal rate of return. Modified internal rate of return. So let us move on. Let us say something about PI. Not PI, MIRR. So we are under MIRR. MIRR, that will requires an extra working anyway, but it's okay. So we can say this is the required rate of return. This is the required rate of return. This is the required rate of return. Assuming cash flow generated, assuming the cash flow generated can be reinvested, to earn more return, So this is the formula. Without wasting time, MIRR is equals to N, future value of the cash flow, future value of cash flows over initial investment minus 1. That is the formula. So I think haina mambo. So do you remember how to compute the future values? Do you remember how to compute the future value? So we need to compute the future value. So we have our years. So this one requires a new working years. Remember, we are still doing the equation for December 2023. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you have our cash flows. So in for X, project X. So mimi nafanya project X. You guys you do project Y because itachukua muda mrefu. So 37 500. 16 500. 30,000. 30,000. 22 500. 9,000. 9,000 and 7,500. How do we get the future value? This is the formula. Future value is equal to 1 plus R raised to N. Remember that formula? Now, we want to get the future value at the so we shall assume that the cash flows are at the end. So we shall going to make an assumption that this cash flows occurs at the end of each year because of the cash flows we are discounting. So remember when we are doing discounting, discounting also always assumes that the cash flows are at the end. Now in this case, we shall assume that the cash flows are at the end. Now, if the value at the end of year 1 is 7,500, what will be the value of this cash flow in year 6? How many years to year 6? So hesabu 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 years to go. 1 plus. Now the rate. We have the rate somewhere there, which is 15%. So 0.15 raised to 5. Next ni 1 plus 0.15 raised to 4. Then 1 plus 0.15 raised to 3. 1 plus 0.15 raised to 2. 1 plus 0.15 raised to 1. Na at year 6 hiyo itabaki hiyo figure tu venye iko 1 plus 0.15 raised to 0. Hiyo itabaki hivyo vile ilivyo. So remember that assumption. We did it in time value of money. So kama haukumbuki vizuri, kindly revisit time value of money. So kindly revisit time value of money. So kindly revisit time value of money. So nimesema hivi. So these cash flows are assumed to occur at the end of the year. Kumaanisha the one for year 1, that's 7,500. How many years remaining ndio ifike year 6? Kama inaoccur at the end of the year, so imebaki year 2, 3, 4, 5 na year 6. So itakuwa ni 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Na for year 2, 16,500. How many period remaining ifike year 6? If it occurs at the end, so unaanzia na year 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. And so on. So let us tuweke tujaze kila kitu. Then wakati tumeshajaza, then you get the total. So the total here will be the future value. Total future value. So let us find them. Let us find them together. So let us do it. So nimesha compute the future values. So this is the future values. If you don't remember, kindly revisit the topic of time value of money. Now, MARR is equal to 6. So the formula, we want to use this formula. So N is 6 period. So 6. So 6 square root of, now future value day 145 799.79 over initial investment. So what is the initial investment? So initial investment was 57,750. 57,750. What you get, you minus 1. So what you get, you minus 1. So let us see. So tutasema itakuwa ni 145 799.79 divided by the 57,750. Then 6 root of answer, which is MIRR equals to 1.1 167 167 minus 1, which is around, so minus 1, which is 0.167, or you multiply with 100, 0.167 times 100%, which is around 16.7%. Now, decision criteria. So we need to know the decision criteria. Decision criteria. So tumepata 16.7%. So decision criteria. Decision criteria tunasema decision criterion. Decision criterion. If MIRR is greater than the cost of capital, accept. If MIRR is less than cost of capital, reject. Then if MIRR is equal to cost of capital, nasema no valid decision. No valid decision. No valid decision meaning it's a point of indifference. So in this case, you need to do for project Y also. Then you compare which one has the highest MIRR. Now, but by the look of things, if you compare this 16.7 is greater than 15%. Now, if you are just to compare this project X alone with the cost of capital of 15%, we accept. You could have accepted. But make sure you do project Y, uangalie yake ni ngapi. So kama yake ni kubwa kushinda ya project X, then you accept project Y in case. But if your project Y MIRR itakuwa less than 16%, we reject. Then we accept project X. So that depends with the value of project Y. So make sure you do project Y, then you compare. So kama hii itakuwa kubwa than the 16.7, then the most appropriate project to undertake will be project Y. So we are remaining with one item, that is the internal rate of return. So we are remaining with one item, and that item is the internal rate of return. So we shall meet in our next class to discuss the internal rate of return. For now, it's a goodbye. So we shall meet for lesson, I think it's lesson 4 for this one. So for now, let us meet next time. So you have a lovely time.